Hopefully some of the people are still hanging around. I apologize. We had some technical difficulties. Mark Neighbor, I really appreciate your time and your patience.
Sure.
Honestly, this is my first Facebook Live, and so had to work out the kinks. We had to work out the kinks. Everybody, I'm Keith Jones. I am the creator of the six-figure real estate wholesaling coaching program. We're about 15 minutes late. I hope some people still coming back, or anyway, we're gonna do this anyway. We it's one of those days, and you just never let anything stop you. You look good, Mark.
Good. How are you doing, Keith?
I feel great. Man. I appreciate your time. And Mark, I want to first of all tell the audience a little bit about yourself. First of all, tell us who you are. You're Mark Neighbor.
Okay, I've been buying houses for about 40 years. Most of them for myself, but about 2003, we made this a full-time job, and we bought several hundred since then. And we've got a company called AO Home Solutions. Got a couple other companies, but we buy houses all the time. We sell houses, and it's been a great business. Can you hear my dog in the background? Because if you can, I'll put him outside.
A little bit. That's okay. That's okay.
I can set him outside right quick. If
it's not that. We are good.
Okay.
We love animals.
Yeah. Okay. But we've been buying them since 2003. It's a full-time job. It's a great job. Make good money at it. Wouldn't trade it.
Great. You started in what year did you start actually as a real estate entrepreneur?
Probably the year 2003.
Okay.
I sold another business and went into this full time because I could see you can make a lot of money in it.
I started in 1997, so I got you by a couple years, at least a couple. But I went full time in 1998. Your business model. Tell me a little bit about your business model, Mark.
Well, we'll do most things in this business that make money. And the business model is that we don't need to do that many houses. We just do enough houses to make a six-figure income, and not a little six-figure income. And I'm not talking about just bringing in six figures. I'm talking 6 figures of profit. So after everybody's paid and everything's done, I'm still making a comfortable income that I can live on for my entire life.
Do you you're buying wholes is part of your strategy? When I first met you a handful of years ago, you were kind of like, was it taking the deed or doing lease option?
Yes, we do lease options. We do owner finance. We do a lot of different things. We do a lot of creative financing.
Creative financing. That's why I want to guide my students to the creative financing part, because as wholesalers, they're gonna market to a lot of deals that would not be realistically wholesale deals to the beginning investor. And there are wholesale deals to how to do it. So that I teach my students are for those who may pick up a property. Just use a number, $100,000. Just say the value is only worth $100,000. This person is losing it because they can't make the payments and they've only had it a few years. Now they really owe, they probably had to bring X amount of dollars to the table. Let's just say they ended it at $95,000.
Yeah.
Sell it with seller financing, they can still make a profit. And it all has to do with the condition of the house and things of that nature. But I want to be able to help students to understand that realistically, as a wholesaler, 5, maybe 10% of the deals that you market to are going to be wholesale deals. The other 95 to 90% of the deals are going to be deals that you have to understand creative financing. And that's where having a good mentor and coach comes in handy.
Yes.
Do you mentor and coach yourself, Mark?
Yes, I mentor and coach both, and I've always had mentors and coaches too. You know, you can take a lot of courses, and I've spent more money than my college education on this business to learn it. But what I've found out is the courses only get you about 80% of the way through. And the other 20%, you need a coach or a mentor. And if you don't have one, you're going to get in trouble. One of the big trouble pieces is, you know, it's kind of like a doctor. A doctor can do lots of things. And if you don't want to pay doctor's prices, you go on the internet and figure out how to take out your kidneys. But the deal is, what happens if you do something wrong? If something goes wrong, that's what you're paying the coach or the mentor for. And, you know, you can not head it all the way through and make money in this business, but it's a whole lot easier with a coach or a mentor, whole lot easier if you make good money the first time rather than the 10th time.
Cutting that learning curve is very important, very important. And when I started in 1997, Mark, I really didn't know what I was doing, but I was so determined to get away from working for someone else. I mean, I worked a job that I didn't like, and I just knew that with some faith and persistence, I could make something happen. So the mistakes that I made were mistakes I'll never forget. And I do believe that if I went into, well, I got blessed. Honestly, I got blessed because wholesaling fell into my lap, literally, in 1998. From 1997 to early 1998, we were buying to hold, and I didn't understand. Trying to manage them myself was a hassle. A lot of things that went on as a total beginner with no coaching and no mentoring was a major challenge for me. And so I had to do things, you know, I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. But once I became a wholesaler, things just started doors just started to open up. I figured that out so easily. And as a wholesaler, as a mentor and a coach and a consultant, I teach my students to learn to wholesale first, because wholesaling is the most scalable part of real estate. Once you understand how to wholesale in your own backyard, we literally can do this all over the country. You just get good at what you do here and get to know, put together some systems. Speaking of systems, you have a lot of websites. Are your websites part of your system?
They are part of our 35 different, and some for buying, some for selling, some for getting private money, you know, a whole bunch of different ways. Because it's not only important how much you make, but it's equally important how much you get to keep. So you want to make all this work, and it's got to work within the tax system. And it works very, very well within the tax system when you're doing things right. And you don't have to do it the knothead way. You can make good money at this, money every year, and you can retire from this.
We have a comment from John Casey. John's asking, starting out, how much money should I invest to realistically start doing real estate wholesale? You got any advice for him?
Yeah, I do. You know, I think education is the most important. And I think a coach is the most important piece of the education. You can get all the rest of it somewhere. All the courses work. You just got to figure out how to work the courses. So it's very important to have the right coach or the right helper. And how much money do you need to invest? That's up to you. But you know, this business is actually easier, I have found, if you have no money than if you have lots of money. If you have lots of money, you'll make mistakes and you'll cover it up with money. If you don't have any money, you can't make mistakes, and you learn faster and quicker, and you'll make more money quicker. And I know you found that out too.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I want to give John a little my advice as a beginning wholesaler. Look like that's what John is interested in. As a wholesaler, as a beginner, you got to figure out, do you have more time than money, more money than time, which is nail you just hit on. I prefer to, because I did things from you know, bootstraps, if you will. I I look to share with them the information or the advice on try to take your spare time and turn it into productivity that'll get you some deals. And to me, that can start with driving for dollars. If you have the money, even though if you have the money, I think you should start with driving for dollars, because that helps you neighborhoods. That helps you to get an idea of what's going on. You want to drive neighborhoods where there is activity of investors going on. You may have to get to know a realtor, and that's what I did back in the day, John and Mark. I got to know when I first moved here to Metro Atlanta. I started asking realtors what was going on in the area, and I would ask them for a property for sale. And what they would do, back in the day, of course, it was even this is 1997, so we didn't have laptops and computers, but they would give me an address to a property for sale. I would get that property, have that address, and then I would go ride that neighborhood. I'd go look at that. I'd drive to that property, and then I would ride that neighborhood looking to see if I could find any for sale by owner signs. I would write down the addresses of vacant and abandoned houses. So I learned how to make driving for dollars work for me before I really did anything else. And I've received some of my largest paychecks driving for dollars. So I would take driving for dollars income and turn that money into being able to pay for some postcards. I never did do the bandit signs, but I know a lot of people who did bandit signs. So it's about your budget. How much can you afford to spend on a consistent basis? The key is consistently. If you can afford to spend $250 a week consistently, or $250 a month consistently, do that consistently, and then take 15% of, because you will get some deals. Now the key is knowing what to do with the deals once you get the calls, and that's why it's so important to have a mentor, a coach, a consultant to help you understand how to negotiate, how to evaluate and get a deal under contract. So, but right now, my goal is to get our students out of their chairs and out into the field so they can find deals that make sense. And if your finances don't allow you to start out with doing bandit signs can cost you hundreds of dollars. In fact, Mark, you do bandit signs, correct?
I do bandit signs, and then
how often?
Quite a few of them. Well, it depends. We're putting them out a lot when we're not getting a whole bunch of leads, but when we start getting a whole bunch of leads, I get lazy sometimes and cut them back. But they do work. They always work, and they have always worked. And the places that I get that they're threatening to find me the most is usually where I get the best deals.
Yeah.
And I also, there's a certain way to stick them out. There's certain things you want to say on the sign, certain things you don't want to say on the sign.
Give us an example of what to say and what not to say.
Okay. Well, for example, you don't have to be too terribly creative. We buy houses works. Okay. Now, I don't know whether you can see this or not. I don't know if I can get that up there or not. But we've got signs that say Granddad buys houses. And we put that out there. I also did something and did it by mistake and found that it works great. I'm always looking for the best deal. I'm kind of cheap. So I went and bought black signs, okay? And then reversed it with white lettering, okay? Now here's the key here. They don't get picked up as much.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah, that is. And then I didn't buy the biggest sign I could. I bought the one down from that. So I got the signs cheaper, and then I put white lettering, which is different, on a solid black sign that doesn't get picked up as much. Then, by putting granddadbuyshouses.com on there in my telephone number, the end result was in the neighborhoods that I'm in, the guys that pick up the signs are older, and usually work for the city, not always the happiest bunch, they didn't pick up my signs. They picked up everybody else's signs. The signs stayed out there. And then where you place them on the street makes a world of difference. There's no point in putting them on Highway 75 or 285.
Exactly.
You can't see them. They're zinging by. They don't get them. And that's the reason there's no signs out there. It doesn't work out there. But if you put them at a corner, you want to put them where you stop and are looking ahead. That's where you put it. People have time to look at it there. That will increase the amount of people that call tenfold. If you put it on a busy street where they're zinging by 60 miles an hour, you might as well just throw your $3 or $4 in the trash because it ain't going to work. But if you put them on a place where people have a chance to actually write down the number, it works. It's like putting signs on your car. We put signs on cars too. But we don't put them on the side of the car. We put them on the back of the car.
I do all three. Both left and right side in the back of my truck.
Yeah. Most calls I get are from the ones that are on the back of the car. And the same reason. They got time to read it. You know, if they're driving down a 2-lane, 3-lane, going 40, 50 miles an hour and they see my sign, they may get it. But if they get a chance to see the one on the back, they call.
Got you.
And, you know, you talk about signs in general, what you should and shouldn't put on there. You should always have clean signs, okay? Does no good to have a ratty 5-year-old sign that the lettering start to wear off. Because if you do that, that represents your business and not very well.
I'll be right back and get something to drink here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
And handwritten signs sometimes are better depending on the neighborhood, depending on whether you're buying or selling. If you're selling a house, you don't really want sometimes to use a professional sign. You can sell a house sometimes real easy with a handwritten sign.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. And then with the houses that you're going to buy, the ones you want to buy, you use professional signs because people want to deal with professionals there. So, you know, and it's just it's a mindset. You can either get it by doing what you and I did for 10 years, or you can figure out early by getting you a coach and having them show you that, and you can have that down in 2 months. And then you can be putting out signs that are working.
I got a question. Still on the bandit signs.
Yeah.
Do you put your direct phone number on bandit signs?
Have you ever heard of Magic Jack?
Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've got Magic Jack numbers and I've got Google numbers. I don't think they give out Google numbers anymore, but we put them out and we use those too. I don't need
code enforcement.
Yeah, I don't need code enforcement calling me on all my signs. But I'm not doing anything that's wrong. You know, when I put the signs out, a lot of times I do put my personal telephone number on it.
Really? Okay.
When I do that, when people call, they actually get to talk to a human. And as a result, I get more business that way. I used to have a service. You know, I paid $25, $30 a month, and it would answer all my calls, you know, and sometimes it would be an answering machine. Sometimes it would be a live person. Tried it both ways. Found out that with my number on there, if I really want to do this and I want to scale this business and I understand the keys like you do to wholesaling first try, then the key is I need to talk to a human. I need to get there before other people do. And it helps me so much to do that they get to talk to a live person. I've had some people tell me, this is the 10th number I've called off these signs, and you're the first one that ever answered. Guess what? All those other guys just wasted their money. They might as well just throw it in the trash. But like you and I know, when we talk to the person, we got a chance. When they put it on an answering machine, yeah, we got a chance. Slim and none.
Right. Right. How do you feel about direct mail, Mark, for finding motivated sellers?
Direct mail works. Direct mail works, but that's very expensive. So
Exactly.
you really need somebody to walk you through it. You can't just go get the cheapest list, go get the cheapest, card, go get the cheapest everything, put it out there, blow $1,000 a month and expect it to work. You might get something, you might not. A lot of people don't understand that the first card doesn't get you squat. It's usually the third or fourth card. So you got to do it again and again. You got to build a rapport. So you're better off sending to a smaller list multiple times than you are a one-shot cowboy sending them just out. At least that's what I've found.
It's true, and I'm so glad that you broke it down for our people who are live viewing live, so they can understand that it's about, again, a system and a process.
Yeah.
What do you think about pre-foreclosures?
Pre-foreclosures are good. What we try to do when we go down that road is I don't want it on the foreclosure list. I'll go get it from the person that's got it. And sometimes, and this is another technique that works, I might have to pay a couple $1,000s to get it out, get it paid back up. But then they'll sign the house over to me. Now, that looks like it's not right up front, or it looks like you don't make a lot of money. But some of those you make a tremendous amount of money. Say, for example, they paid on their house for 10 years. Okay. So they had a 30-year note. Now they got a 20-year note. Okay. Here's the next thing. Say they've only missed 2 payments and they're $1,000 a piece. Okay. So you got to pay $2,500, $2,000 for the 2 late ones, and $500 worth of useless bank fees. So you're paying $2,500 and they sign the house over to you. Now you just got a house with a 20-year note that's already had 10 years paid off of it. And if you think back, I said it was $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month times 10 years, somebody's already paid 120 grand on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the house might have gone up in those 10 years. So if it went up in value, that's almost like free money. Because that doesn't get taxed. And that's stuff that the price and the value of the house just went up. Now, you may be able to rent it for more. You may be able to sell it. You may be able to do a lot of things with it. A lot of new investors don't look at a whole picture.
Right.
Look at, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to buy it cheap and I'm going to sell it for a lot. And when you look at it at that, you only got one option. I mean, you and I probably have set up nights figuring out what is the 20th thing I could do with this house if I get it. And we know that before we buy it. But that's
I'm always looking at several exit strategies.
Yeah. We got something this year I want to show you.
Okay.
Just you and me just aren't sitting here talking. We've actually done things. I don't know whether you do this or not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know exactly what all the parameters were, but I know they weren't giving them out to everybody.
That's a fact.
And
you're doing something right. You've always been doing something right.
Yeah, and if I never get one of those, that's just fine, as long as I keep putting money in the bank, lots of money.
And that's what we do this all for. We do this to take care of our families, have some, create some financial freedom and economic independence. In fact, Mark, one of the reasons why I decided to go this route in the business, because in fact, when you first met me, I never was really into the teaching part. As I started doing more and more of what I do, I started being asked to share my knowledge and felt obligated to do that for those who asked. I never went out and looked for students. It just wasn't the way just not the way I felt at the time. But now, because of what's going on in the world with this virus situation, people are losing their jobs. And my wife and I, we've donated some money here and there. But I feel like, and you've heard the term teaching people how to fish versus giving them a fish. Right. I felt like I could help better, help more and more people by sharing with them what I've been doing for well over 20 years to have financial freedom and economic independence. and I know you've been doing it for well over 20 years, and those I want to connect and share what I do with people who want to learn, because there are a lot of people who really want to learn what we do, and
Right.
but once they meet the right person to guide them down that path, they feel more comfortable. They do want someone to hold their hand, and I don't mind. I really don't mind, but it's easier for us to do it virtually now, and it's safer, obviously, because I teach more at one time. And I'm really proud of my business and how long we've been doing it. I look back on the experiences, and it's a great journey. It's a great journey. It really is.
Yeah, it is. It's great to be able to help other people.
It totally is. Do you still have students currently?
I do, but I don't teach near as much as I used to. I find I can make a lot more money doing it than I can teaching it.
Yeah.
A lot of the teachers teach it. A lot of the big name guys, they go out and teach it. They aren't making any money doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making a bunch of money doing it, and then I teach it to a few people. Yeah.
Got you. For me, it was the people that were approaching me and wanted my time individually. Yeah. That made it hard for me to give them my time, because it did take me away from my business.
Right.
And so I had to figure out a better way, because I do want to help. Because I remember being in that position where I didn't have anyone to ask questions to, and I do want to help. So, I like to be able to share my knowledge and experience, and hopefully guide people down the path of my expectations is to turn them into real wholesalers who are eventually ready for buy and hold, and then fix and flip, and then potentially new construction and commercial. I don't know if you know this, but I was a builder from 2004 to 2008 when everything fell apart. I was building houses and wholesaling. So, but for me, there's a strategy and a sequence to the success in real estate, because if you're building, if you're wholesaling and you're buying and holding, and you're fixing and flipping, and you're maybe new construction or commercial, my end game is self-storage facilities. So, but once you put all those legs up under a table, it's hard not to make lots of money.
Right.
It's hard not to. You'd have to be, if you're doing all that, you're on the right path. Yeah. What I like about real estate, Mark, for me, there's no ceiling to our income potential.
Yes, that's true. And there's no ceiling to the ways you can do this either. There are multiple ways to do it. The more time you're in it, the more people you deal with, the more ways you can see that you can make money. And you can either do it the hard way, take you 10, 15 years to figure it out, or you can do it relatively quickly when you don't have to go through all the experiences you and I had to go through. And it just comes faster.
I remember we didn't even have GPSs. I'd ride around with a map in my lap, in my pickup truck, trying to get to the next property and trying to get there before someone else did. Those were good old days. Technology nowadays has made this business so much easier. How are you taking advantage of the current technology?
I've got different systems, and the older I get, the more I need systems. Mm-hmm. The less that I have time to guess. Okay, so you got Google Earth. Okay, that's a piece we didn't used to have.
Right.
We've got lists. That's a piece we didn't always have. We got different kinds of lists coming from different places. You can get a list now from a lawyer's office of everybody that's going bankrupt, everybody that's going different things, everybody that's going to go foreclosure, everybody that's had somebody die in their family and they got to sell the house. There's all kinds of different lists. There's vacant house lists. There's all kinds of stuff. Not all of them are good, but many of them you can get very, very good information off of. And then besides having just lists, having a system of how you're going to go about it. You, like I do, probably have a folder that when we get a house that we figured out we're going to get it one way or another, then on the front of that folder, we've got certain things that we're writing down. And then once we get that house under contract, that folder gets bigger. What it is, what the lot lines are, who owns it, how many years left on the deed if we're getting it that way, or how much we paid for it, when the starting date is to sell it. And like, you're very, very competitive. I am too. That's why we work good together.
Yes.
When I get a house, that's day one. Now I'm going to see how fast I can sell it for a profit. And sometimes that's a blast. I've sold houses in an hour and made $10,000. It just depends. It's a fun business. A lot of people go to work every day and they hate their jobs.
Yes.
They hate their boss. They hate the things they got to go work. You know what? I've had, and this is not a dig against COVID because I know it's real, but I've had a mask on 3 times in the last 4 months, and I continue to make money every day. I don't have the establishment telling me I can't. I don't have the establishment telling me I can't do this or that. If I want to have a dinner, I can either cook it, but maybe I can't go to the restaurant. I'll just pay somebody to cook it.
There you go.
If we want to do other things like, this past 4th of July was tough on a lot of people because they couldn't go anywhere. They didn't know what the rules were. The rules were too much. I was sitting on my 25-foot boat out in the middle of Lake Jackson at 9 o'clock at night with 1,000 other people watching a light show that probably cost $500,000. And we were having a blast. And I wasn't driving. My son-in-law was driving.
Okay.
But I had my kids, my grandkids, everybody on that. And that's not selling prosperity, That is.
That's a lifestyle that you desire, deserve.
Yeah. And it can be a blast when you're your own boss. I mean, I've gone times where, I made no money in a month because I was a knothead trying to knot my way through it. But I've also gone times where slowed down, think a little bit better, made over $100,000 on a single deal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of things out there you can do.
How do you feel about probate?
Probate's great. I like probate court. I like probate houses. You can help people in probate, and they want to be helped.
When it comes to probate, are you actually reaching out to the probate attorneys, or are you going through? You have a system that goes through and find those people who are going through probate court.
Here's one thing, and I know you know this as well as I do. After you've done this business for a while, and people know what you do, I buy houses, they start coming to you.
That's true.
All the systems I've got, over half my business is they come to me because they've either done a deal with me. Usually people think, real estate is one shot and out, but that's not true. I have people that have sold me multiple houses, and that's kind of odd, but they've had several houses. Maybe they're investors. Maybe they had a house that was going to get foreclosed, a lot of different ways, but they will bring me houses. Mm-hmm. and sell them to me. I've had a lot of people that have gone through probate and they don't know what to do. I went and took a course, made me a probate specialist, big deal. But the real thing is, it's if you can walk through it, there's a lot of money there. When somebody dies and they owe $100,000 on their house, and the house goes to the grandson, and he doesn't even have a job yet, he either loses it or sells it because he doesn't have the option sometimes to go into it. And there's all kinds of things like that you can help people, and you can not only help the one that's going through the probate, but you can help the buyer, because guess what? You don't have to sell them top dollar. You don't have to make top dollar on everything. You can be helpful, mindful, and careful with the way you act in your business dealings. And by that, I mean, I may buy it cheap and then turn around and sell it to a little old lady that's on a fixed income on a owner finance deal, or on a rent deal or lease purchase deal or any other way for a reduced amount than what you would have to pay on the open market. And I've made money and helped two people.
Okay, beautiful. How about divorce? What do you think about divorce to find motivated sellers? People going through divorces.
I could tell you stories about that, but I'll tell you one of the things that's kind of cool about divorce. I'll tell you one of my earlier deals. Okay. And I'll try to make it quick because I don't want to wear you out or have you laugh.
I appreciate your time. I have something to share with you when you're done. Once we go through divorce, we spoke about it earlier. I'm going to share a video but tell me about divorce.
Okay. You can make a lot of money on divorce just like you can anything else. You got to have an open mind. Early on, I had one of my investor buddies come to me and said, Mark, can you take care of this deal? I can't. I'm locked out right now. Don't have any cash. Can you do it? So he gave me this nice young lady that was going to go through divorce, and she needed to get rid of her house. And her dad had loaned her part of the money, and a lot of stories behind it. But long story short, she just wanted out of the house. She didn't want to lose it. She didn't want to get behind in payment. So she signed it over to me. But here's the funny thing. And I almost didn't do it because of this. She told me, she said, I'll give you this house, but you got to promise me I won't make $1. And I'm thinking, gee, I can't even do this deal. She's nuts.
She didn't want to split the money.
Yeah, she's nuts. I don't know what's going on. So I said, yeah, I can probably do that, but you explain to me why. She said, well, in my divorce decree, if I make any money, he gets half. So he said, I'm not making a blankety penny on this house. And I said, okay, you sign it over to me, but I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2,000 for that old refrigerator you got in there so that you'll have money to go get you an apartment and get yourself started again. Will that work? Because he won't get any of that. and she did, And as a result of doing it and handling it that way, I lease purchased that house 4 times over the years, making an average of $5,000 and $6,000 each time. Plus, I got another $100 to $200 a month over what the note was.
So you gotta check it when you sold it. Well, sold at lease option, and then you got an income stream in the middle. Yeah. Do you still own that house?
I sold it, and I had to find a way to put away the money because when it was all said and done, there was still another 50 grand left over.
There you go. That's why I was heading with that. That's the kind of stuff I like to share with my students. Let them know that you can create streams of income from deals like these.
Yeah, and I made over $100,000 on that house in less than 10 years.
Okay.
But she gave me, the lady that sold me the house gave me 2 of the tenants, to go in for the lease purchase. And through the course of time, we became friends and a lot of other things. And it worked out great. And a lot of times it does. When we paid off the house, it paid down the house, never cost me a penny. Made a bunch of money on it. All because I said, and why don't you want to make any money on this house?
Magic questions. You got to ask the right questions. That's so important.
Yeah.
Mark, we're going on 7:25. I know, of course, we started 15, almost 20 minutes late, but I got something I want to share with those who are watching and you in particular. Remember we talked about, because again, let me start here. Driving for dollars for me is one of the least expensive ways to get a student to get into the business. And look, first of all, let me tell you about a couple of my biggest paychecks, my favorite paychecks, driving for dollars. I was over at one of my buddies. He was a builder back in the late, a handful of years ago. He was building some houses. This is way before 2008, probably 2006 or 7. And I was at his job site, and I left the job site, and I had my signs on my vehicle. My vehicle, of course, said, "We buy houses, cash for your crib." And at a traffic light over by Grant Park, a guy stopped me at the traffic light. He said, "Hey man, you buy houses?" I said, "Yeah, we buy." That's what the sign says. He said, "You want to see this house over here?" I'm like, "Sure." Let me go. I went, took a look at the house. Mark, I knew as soon as I walked in, I'm like, if the price is right, we got a deal. Look, I made 25 grand on it, with probably within about a week, $25,000. Another one of my favorite deals, driving for dollars. I was driving, and then another one, Grant Park, driving through Grant Park, looking at properties. This guy was sweeping out his driveway. He saw the signs on my vehicle, and of course, you gotta have. If you're gonna drive for dollars, I highly suggest that you have signs on your vehicles for a couple of reasons. Number one, before I put signs on my vehicle, people would be a little leery if you just, driving through a neighborhood, looking around, moving kind of slow. But when they see the signs on your vehicle, they relax. They know you want to, you're out there in a professional manner, a legal professional manner.
Yep.
So when so that house, I made like $15,000 in about 3 days on that house. The guy was sweeping out his driveway. He saw my signs. He said, "Hey, you buy houses?" "Sure, I do. You want to take a look at this one?" I mean, literally invited me into his house. Never seen me before at anything. But when I got into the house, I made a phone call. I made a phone call to one of my buyers. They picked up the house. I made $15,000. One of my biggest paydays, though, was I was over in East Atlanta in the 30317 zip code. This was a handful of years ago. And I'm driving through this neighborhood, and I'm watching these guys, the landscapers, and the house is raggedy, and it was in a good neighborhood, if you understand 30317 East Atlanta. Yeah. And so as I pulled up over to the house, and I asked the guys, you guys want to sell this house? Their answer to me, "Well, we don't own it, but the owner probably does want to sell it. She's tired of keeping the yard up." So I gave them my card. I gave the landscapers my card. About 3 days later, this lady called me. She called me and said she wanted to sell the house. And of course, I never start out asking the price. Of course, I already saw the condition of the house. Yeah. But in this case, she was really the neighbors were on her. They were complaining about the yard. She's like, "I really need to get rid of this house." She said, "If you could pay me $30,000, it's yours." She offered $30,000. Mark, I sold that house about 2 weeks later for 85 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, driving for dollars can work. So yeah. I do that to segue into, I have there's a app called Deal Driven. And I'd asked you if you were familiar with it earlier. I'm going to go to a video and show you all everybody is watching how Deal Driven works. So let's everybody relax. It's about 10-minute video. So hopefully you got some time. Yep. You got some time?
Yes.
Let's do it. Here we go. Can you see it?
I cannot.
You cannot see it? Oh,
nope.
Wow. Let's see. Wow. Okay.
Take me out of the picture. Take me out of the picture.
Take you out of the picture?
Yeah, and there should be a setting on there that will let it come up from the bottom of your page that will let you share your screen.
You share screen.
Okay, I think I just lost StreamYard. Are you there, Mark?
I'm still here.
Okay, okay. Now I got you back. So I gotta go. You said go to shared screen first?
Don't it say share screen?
Go to shared screen.
It's gonna.
But the app is gone. The Deal Driven.
All right.
Well. Anyway, I'm new at this. So what I'm gonna do though, for all of those who stayed to the end, I'm gonna send everybody email a copy of the link, because I really want you to see this, Mario. There's a video that actually it's a instructional video on how to use it. It's a virtual. You literally driving down neighborhoods virtually, and the software it pinpoints the pre-foreclosures in a different color, the absentee owners in a different color,
Great.
and the cash buyers in a different color. So it allows you to find the pre-foreclosures, the absentee owners, and you can build your buyers list with this app. And you can click on a certain button and you can literally see the houses themselves through Google Earth. You're seeing the houses, the street, the neighborhood, and it's incredible. But I don't have the experience right now but I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you the link so you can watch this video. I think you'll be if you get out every now and then and drive for dollars, which you probably don't anymore. You don't have to, but it's a great thing to share because now you can literally just choose a neighborhood. For example, I would say you can go Google single family house for sale in the 30310 zip code. And of course you get all the addresses of the single family house for sale in the 30310 zip code. Now you can literally put in that address into the to the deal driven app, and now you're looking at all of the houses in that same zip code or neighborhood, and then you can literally drive down the streets and it'll pinpoint out the houses that are absentee owners, pre-foreclosures, and it'll actually tell you the ones that are for sale by realtors. Of course, we're not interested in those, and it'll give you the houses that were bought by cash, meaning those are most likely an investor that you can reach out to and add them to your buyers list. So that's the best way I can kind of explain it right now.
Good. Sounds like a useful tool. Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate you, Mark. This is actually my first, but I want everybody who's on to know I'll be doing this every Wednesday as we build our community of real estate wholesalers, because this is mainly for wholesaling real estate. I'm trying to, again, guide and share and inspire those who really want to change their lives, want to take control of their financial freedom, create some economic independence. That's what this is all about. I want them to take action. I was expecting to give them the app so they could. I wanted the people who were watching and viewing to have some deals that we could share next Wednesday and start to evaluate.
Yes.
So I'm going to I would like for them to come to the six-figure real estate wholesaling. In fact, I think my wife is going to put our contact information at the bottom in the comments. Jackie, could you put the six-figure real estate wholesaler down at the bottom in the comments? Okay, she's going to post where we would like for everybody to go, because if they would go to that and request the deal driven app, I will send it and you get a 7-day free trial. And that's why I wanted everybody to take advantage of the 7-day free trial to see how it works, because it really is. I mean, again, I've been doing this for a long time, and for an app like this to get my attention, if you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home parent, if you don't have a vehicle, if you just can't get around, now you can literally drive $4 from your cell phone, your laptop, your tablet, your desktop, and you don't really have to leave home. Now, the app is so good, it allows you can skip trace. You can get their phone numbers of the owner. Could be, obviously, if they're absentee owners, they live somewhere else. You get that phone number, their address where they live currently, who's ever paying taxes on it. That's why I was really excited about being able to show that video. But I'm going to send that video to everybody who goes to the six-figure real estate wholesaler. Request the video of deal driven, and it'll literally change your it's a game changer for this business as a wholesaler.
Good.
So I think my wife is posting that now. As soon as right after she posts that, I would like for everybody to copy and paste it, and then we can we can conclude. I just want you guys. I want everybody to have that, and especially you, Mark. I think you'll enjoy this app. I know I will. I know I have.
Great. Thanks.
There it goes. So the email. Can you see it, Mark?
I cannot, but that's because I'm on
comments.
StreamYard with you. Most of the people
Okay,
can
gotcha.
see it if they're on Facebook.
Yep. I think everybody else can see it. Yeah. Can you see? Somebody goes, can you post it in the comments too? So yeah, it's posted now. So for the person who just asked if we can post it, that was John. John, give me a thumbs up if you can see it now. We just posted it in the comments. You want to go to the sixfigurerealestateWholesaler.com and request the deal driven app. I'll get it to you then. I apologize again. This is the first one, and hiccups happen, and but it won't be the last. So we're gonna this is all about progress, not perfection. I thank you for your time, Mark. I thank you for all those who listened in and taking advantage of over 40 years of experience. And thank you very much, Mark, and have a great night, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks.